Audio testing, 1, 2, 3. Lights on, camera rolling, and action.
Welcome to the Scaling Creator Podcast, the one-stop shop that explores problems, solutions, and stories for business-minded creators. I'm Soren Dickens.
And I'm Erickson Dickens.
We'll be talking about everything from self-discovery, storytelling, leadership, marketing, sales, operations, and finance.
If you like a healthy dose of education mixed with a generous dash of insightful entertainment, prepare for your ears to be pleasured. Oh yeah.
Make sure to check us out at scalingcreator.com and also join our free Discord community.
Scaling Creator launching in 3, 2, 1.
The following content is not intended for all listeners, but we strongly encourage all listeners to listen regardless. All right, welcome back to the Scaling Creator Podcast. I'm Soren Dickens, and today we are going to be diving into our investing series. This is a short series where we do crash course topics around investing, whether that be investing our time or money, whether that be investing in our businesses or anything we do in life. I'm here today with Jack Spitser and Zach Ruder from Epic Drone Tours. So thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us yet again.
Oh, yeah. When you're starting a business, especially a creative business, you usually are starting by ourselves, right? Like we were the videographers or you were the photographer. And then it comes to a point where you need to start looking at bringing other people into your business so that you can go from where you're currently at to the next level. So the topic that we're going to be talking about is investing in people. And I know that you guys had a relationship prior to doing business together, but tell me a little bit about how you guys started working together and how that was really like your first investment in your business was bringing in Zack.
I had basically it was probably about 6 months after officially starting, and I had a overseas VA that was doing messaging and some of the admin work for me, but communication there wasn't that great, and there was some problems going on with it, so I would spend a lot of time venting to Zack and telling him about the problems and basically just, giving him the rundown of everything that was going on, using that kind of therapeutically, I think, looking back on it. And Zack was in school and looking to, make some cash and learn about the business, and he's excited about it. And so he kind of took over that role, and that was in the summer of 2021. And he eventually, once he graduated in 2022, came on full time. Now we're in 2023, and he's, partner and full-on business partner with me. It's been a cool evolution of how the relationship has grown since then. And looking back, that is one of the biggest investments that was made in Epic Drone Tours. I can't do everything myself. Zack and I's skill sets and personalities are really complementary to each other. We're both very opposite, which I think helps a lot, because a lot of things I'm not good at, he's great at. A lot of things he's not good at, I'm good at, So it's worked out really well so far.
Yeah, so Zack, when you first started talking to Jack and Jack was venting on the couch, was it this therapy session almost a way for you to digest what problems were going on in the business that you could help solve? How did you take that information and almost figure out how to create a value proposition for Jack to say, hey, I can step in and help. I could do that. Or how did that all come about?
Well, I don't think that was the intention at all. It really just started out. Jack and I had been best friends for a handful of years at that point. And, he would vent his problems, I'd vent my problems. And then it got so repetitive to a point where it was just like, I'm giving all this advice. Why don't I just do this?
Do it.
Yeah. I had extra time on my hands because I extended my school, so I had an extra few quarters, so my course load wasn't so heavy, and it was just it made sense, and I was just like, well, finally we got to a point where it was so repetitive. I was like, all right, well, why don't I just do it? That worked out, and we went about a year because I had another year of school left, and then I was finishing up school, and it was like, I can either go be an engineer and work in a big corporate company, 9 to 5 like everybody else, or maybe there's an opportunity with Epic Drone Tours, and Jack was pretty excited about that opportunity, and then we talked about that for a while, and it was like, all right, let's do that, dive into it, and I think it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, it seems like a great investment from personnel point of view. So when you look at where you started to where you are now, since you were the first investment of people into Epic Drone Tours, collectively you guys have probably navigated other people that you've invested in and brought into the company. You probably have people have come in and have left. Tell me about the good, the bad, and the ugly of investing in people now that you guys see eye to eye. You guys complement each other, whether that be with similarities or opposites. I want to know what you guys have kind of deemed as a standard for Epic Drone Tours when investing in people.
My whole thing is that we want people that are very passionate, about what we're doing, but that are also really just excited to be working. And not just treating it as any other job. Early on, I actually brought on an original partner in the business, gave up some equity because he was bringing in some good deals, but he was in another state and had a lot of other stuff going on. And I think that was my first lesson in not immediately, just giving up things like equity or big loads of cash just because you get a little bit of shiny object syndrome. So we ended up parting ways, which was fine. It was a good break.
How did you end up parting ways with him?
I basically just said that I didn't think it was working out too well, just because I want people that, let's say, that are getting paid or have equity to be involved in the business. I think that's really important than just having private equity style where it's just put the money in and leave. And we both were on the same page with that, and he had other stuff going on, so it was a pretty clean buyout, I guess you'd call it. So that was a big lesson for me was I'm only going to want people that are really invested in the company and in it in the day-to-day, that are going to understand to be actual parts of it and getting paid and things like that. And recently we, this year, brought on one local and one overseas assistant or VA that's doing a lot of our messaging. And then we just brought on a social media manager as well. So Zack was the first initial full-time second person into Epic Drone Tours. But this year we've kind of put our feet in with growing that team and getting more people. And that's not counting our entire team of creatives that do all of the piloting and the videography. I don't talk about them enough. They're the entire reason that this stuff works and that we get the shots we do.
One of the things that we've learned from probably the initial overseas people that Jack had was having really good both hiring processes, but then also standard operating procedures. A lot of what I did for the first year was figuring out what worked and then documenting it. So then when we did finally have, 2 people this past spring that we wanted to bring on, it wasn't like we're holding their hand all the way through it. It was like, all right, we have 1 week where we're training you, here's what we need to do. Here's your KPIs. And just like that, they're going and say we have to go on a shoot for a week. And for a long time, if we did that, our messaging was 0. And then, a month down the line, we're getting no deals. And that changed when we had people just always doing that. And it really helped us all summer long.
Yeah, how important is that?
Good song all summer long.
Is it a good song? Should we go ahead and play that in there for a second?
Kid Rock.
When you brought up the point of bringing in someone to work when you guys are out in the field doing productions, right? So they're doing business development for you, right? How important is that so that your pipeline doesn't dry up?
I think it's very important.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things was earlier this year, we had bigger projects we were working on, some side things, other investments. And, there's 2 or 3 full weeks where I wasn't messaging, Jack wasn't really doing outreach. And then our emails, we burned a domain, so we were slowed down there. As that was happening, we still had the pipeline was pretty full, so we were getting deals. And then we came back, started back with the work, but then all of a sudden we're like, why are these 2 months just way lower? And it was because, 3 months ago we weren't doing any outreach. And when we have a sales cycle that's, longer than it used to be, it's some of these are 2-3 month processes from when we first contact them to when we close a deal. You need to have that pipeline always at the very top flowing down, and having people that are able to do that no matter what just was a huge thing for us.
So now when you guys are investing in people outside of your creatives, you mentioned that you invested in a social media manager, someone to help you get your content out there so you don't have to worry about that yourselves. What are some other things that you guys have invested in on the business development side of things in terms of people, and what are their roles?
That's pretty much it for now. I think one of the ones that we kind of jumped the gun a little bit was I had an old friend that he was really experienced in sales and was looking for a new sales position. And we didn't really have anything set up in terms of hiring and getting it ready, but the 3 of us went out and got drinks and got super excited about it. We're like, oh yeah, let's do it. We plugged him in, and it was just the communication was off and we didn't have anything set up. So it didn't work out too well. Plus we just weren't ready to hire somebody. So that was a good lesson to get your systems in place so that when you have a need, you can just plug them right into what's already working instead of hiring and then figuring it out from there. Because that was an issue we ran into.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. We actually just had an issue with that as well with the setter. We had the lead pipeline that we decided to cut off the offer. We were like, we don't want to deal with this offer anymore. And he was setting for that offer. And then we decided, hey, we're going to turn this thing off. And now he's sitting there. This is the 2nd week. He's literally doing nothing. I don't know, probably going to have to get reassigned to something that makes more sense for the business. So in your guys' case, when you brought that guy in, what did you not have set up for him? Was it you didn't have the leads, or was he appointment setting and taking sales calls, or what was his role? Or what was his expected role?
His expected was just to be a closer.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things we learned from that was when you've been in the nitty gritty of the business for 2 years, you like overlook a lot of things. Like the way that you communicate, the way that we do things, it seems second nature to us, but then you pull somebody from the outside, it's like they have no idea. And you think, oh no, it's like you can give them just a couple things and they'll just write on in.
There's plenty of times when I am, giving a whatever instruction to somebody for something, Zach's like, talk to them like they're a 5-year-old. They're not going to know what you mean. I'm like, what do you mean? It's right there. It's easy. So learning how to really get granular with the details of the step-by-step, everything you do, and not realize, oh, just because I've done it for so long means everyone else is going to understand and know. It's big.
Yeah, that teaching process when you are investing in people is huge, because what comes second nature to us, whatever comes really easily to us, is the hardest for us to teach, because we don't know how to simplify it in a way where someone coming with a blank slate can interpret the way we see things and really deliver to our expectations. So that's a huge piece of investing in people, is figuring out before investing in people, how do we make sure we have the systems and processes so that they can almost teach themselves with the proper guidance. How do you guys do that now when you're bringing people in? How do you guys invest in their development?
Well, I was going to go back and say that another one that we did right was our editor. It's been about 2 years we've had him now. I did the editing for about the first year. It's been 2 years of him going through with both me and him going back and forth, like every single day talking about video styles and, oh, do this better, do this different, do this technique. And on the day-to-day, it doesn't really feel like we're actually making much progress, but over 2 years, it's like he has become a massively great editor. That the entire industry that we're in Facebook groups, 30,000 people, I'll post our work in his edits, and everyone's gonna be like, who the hell edited that? How did you do those colors? And so looking back, it's like that was a massive addition, or the way that we've trained him up and got him over the last 2 years, that now it's like we need to find a new editor. And it's kind of daunting realizing that we might have to go through that process again, since we're kind of spoiled with him for now. With editing, I'm trying to do a good job of documenting what I think has worked with him and things I've sent him, examples I've sent, ways we've communicated for the next editor, learning how to get him so that he can train the next one. With our social media manager, I think that we still could have had a little bit more in place, but we have, recordings of the way that I've been posting on social. We have an entire marketing strategy and plan. So basically we just have a wide variety of content that we gave her, and to learn about the business and to know the way we do things. And we've been on several different meetings where we're going over, how we're going to make it happen. And I'm trying my best to not overwhelm her and throw a million different job roles at her, because I know a lot of social media managers end up being video editors and videographers, and so trying to keep it so she's just doing one role, posting, distributing the content, and it's been fun learning curve so far.
I think going off of that, it's after we kind of messed up the first hire that the two of us tried to do, it's really being granular. Like when you're doing a process, just record yourself doing it. That's one of the best ways, because maybe you also will notice something that you're doing that isn't quite right. But if you write something down in words, it's one thing, but then when they're able to actually watch you go through a process step by step, explaining everything, it just clicks that much faster for them. So I've been having Jack do that a lot with things that he wants to delegate to somebody else, rather than, when we are going to decide to hire that person, I'll teach them then. Why not just get the videos going and really get that checklist going down? And that's one of the biggest things that we've been trying to do with right now, the social media manager that we're hiring, and obviously everybody else as we go.
Loom is a great tool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend everyone get Loom and just start recording everything you do.
Would you say that the investment into databasing and documenting all of your guys' processes has been like a very, very valuable asset to your business?
I think a big thing that makes it an actual business versus just like freelancers and people throwing videos and stuff together, because when we have the processes, once they're in place, it doesn't necessarily have to be Jack and I doing it. It can be anybody doing it, and then that's how we're going to be able to scale, is by replicating the processes that we have set.
And even, it's great for when people come in and we can plug people in, but it's also good. It's kind of like teaching is the best way to learn also. It's like when we are documenting and doing, it can help out, like, oh, maybe we should do this a little bit different, instead of when you're just doing it on autopilot every day. It's a good feedback loop, I think, as well.
At what point do you look at the people that you've hired and decide, okay, well, this is a good fit, or this is something that we need to reevaluate at the leadership level?
We haven't really had to deal with that on, the back end side like us. From the, creative side, we have a little bit. It's just the number one thing, even if you're not like a Hollywood filmmaker, you can still be really good at your job as long as, our number one priority is customer service. Being able to communicate with clients and make sure that when you show up to a shoot and leave, the client leaves feeling like excited to want to go talk and give you referrals and tell their team members about you. If they leave feeling, ooh, that was an awkward situation, or that guy was kind of mean, that's going to run your business into the ground. So the number one thing we focus on is people's attitude and how they will treat our clients, and learning how people react in negative situations as well. If something hits the fan, how are you going to react to it? Are you going to blow up and yell at the client, or are you going to talk them through it, figure out how the best way to move forward, make it right with them? The client's not always right, but for the most part, you should act like it. And that's really important to us.
Yeah, you have to make sure there's that fine balance between delivering for the client and making sure that they're not taking advantage of you or your people, and really making the most of the relationship. So
yeah, 9 times out of 10, they're not. Even if they are, you can still be a nice person.
That's right. So thanks for coming on, Jack and Zach, and being part of the investing series here on the Scaling Creator podcast. Check us out at scalingcreator.com, join our Discord community, and look forward to the next episode of the investing series. We'll be having Jack and Zach back on, and we're going to be talking about investing in education, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the coaches of coaches, the gurus, which education makes sense to invest in for your business, and why we've made the decisions that we've made today in our businesses. And we look forward to having you on the next episode.